Hello, this is WBA Executive Director Brad Boyks, and welcome to another edition of The Blueprint. I want to start off today by giving you an update on our efforts to streamline the building permit process here in Wisconsin for 1- and 2-family new homes. Last week, the Senate Committee on Utilities and Housing held a public hearing on our bill in Senator Lemieux, who's also the chair of the committee and the bill author. We had no negative feedback from that committee hearing, and we expect that to hopefully be voted out of that committee in the relatively near future. On the voting front, the Assembly Housing Committee is going to be taking that up for a vote this week on Thursday. All indications point that we're going to get a bipartisan unanimous vote on that bill. The next effort will be to make the request for that to be up before the full state assembly. So hoping outside chance that might happen in June, if not early fall, for that to move forward in the assembly. And we'll see how things go with a committee vote in the Senate and the full vote of the full Senate. But in good shape to hopefully pass that by the end of this year and get some efficiencies gained from the passage of that bill. Also, last week, I was invited to testify before the Assembly Committee on Rural Development. They had an informational hearing on the topic of workforce housing. A quick thank you to the committee chair of that committee, Representative Nancy Vandermeer of Toma. She invited me to speak on that topic. Also, the committee heard from a number of different experts on the topic of workforce housing in rural areas of the state. There were representatives from the Wisconsin Economic Development Association and the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority. Both gave some expert and very good information. It was about a 2-hour and 15-minute hearing, and that was actually broadcast on Wisconsin Eye. There is a link below this email, or in this email. You will be able to find and view that entire committee hearing to get some ideas of some of the needs of workforce housing needs throughout the state. Also recently, Speaker Robin Vos had floated the idea. Traditionally, the state budget is done in one document, goes to the governor to be reviewed, and then the governor has a very extensive line item veto ability. Recently, Speaker Vos floated the idea of doing 2 separate bills. One would be just on the spending side, and the other would be containing some policy as a way to facilitate and move the budget process forward. When asked about this, Speaker Vos had said, quote, "If we can't negotiate, this is at least something we should consider." He had those conversations with members of his caucus. As you can imagine, the reaction from the Democrat members of the Joint Finance Committee was not positive. They take the stance that this should be negotiated between the governor as one bill and the Joint Finance leaders and Speaker Vos and Senator Fitzgerald. So stay tuned to see if the Republicans do take that on as a way to get the budget process completed, or if they go with the traditional route of doing one bill. Also, Attorney General Call recently announced the creation of the Public Protection Unit. That was the merger of a couple of different areas within his office. In a press release to announce this, the Attorney General said, quote, "The Wisconsin Department of Justice must be a watchdog for consumers and our natural resources." He also went on to say the creation of the Public Protection Unit is a step towards revitalizing the enforcement of our consumer protection and environmental laws. Some other folks, skeptics of this plan, believe that this might be a small law firm that is looking to interfere with business and looking to litigate against Wisconsin businesses. So only time will tell how this goes, but obviously a new agency within the Attorney General's office that will be watching to see what their actions are in the weeks and months to come. Also on the election side, Wisconsin Supreme Court Justice Daniel Kelly announced that he would be seeking another 10-year re-election, or a 10-year term on the state Supreme Court. He will has one announced challenger and one likely challenger. Dane County Judge Jill Karofsky has announced her intentions to seek that post, and Marquette University law professor Ed Falone has not formally announced, but has stated that he intends to run as well. So if all 3 of those folks or more get into the race, that would set things up for a primary election to be held on Tuesday, February 18th, 2020, to pair the field from either 3 or more to 2, and then a general election on Tuesday, April 7th, 2020. So that April date is also going to coincide with the spring election in Wisconsin, which will have the Democrats voting on their choice for the candidate to go against President Trump, so seen as a large turnout election. Also, in closing, we've talked a lot about the events that we have coming up here at the end of the month. You'll be receiving a number of emails in the next few weeks that will give you an opportunity to sign up for our member meeting day, our Build Pack event, and our Wisconsin Builders Foundation golf outing. Those events are taking place on June 26th and 27th in central Wisconsin in the Stevens Point area, and we hope to see all of you at that time as well. Also, maybe seeing some of you in DC this week as well, as that they have their board meeting and legislative conference. So we're hoping to see some Wisconsin members have some meetings set up with members of the congressional delegation from Wisconsin in DC as well. So that is it for this week. Hope you enjoyed this version of the Blueprint, and we will see you again in a couple weeks. Thank you.